Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning again. Again, if you caught my straight talk conversation this morning, thank you. If you didn't and you didn't notice what's coming on, thank you anyway. I'm going to wait for a minute, get the room a little more elated here. Um, I'm making sure that everything is public. Hopefully, you guys can see this now. I'm going to make sure I have the audience edited to public. Perfect. Okay. Because we're going to be getting into some topics here today. One in particular, the Boys and Girls Club. Um, Too Strong had covered a different side of them this last week. If you are on Facebook, um, if you can, make sure you go to that link and sub to the Savage Patriots page on YouTube. If you can, please make sure you go to that page and subscribe to the Savage Patriots. For those of you in the room right now on Facebook, welcome. I need to text someone here. Hang on one second. I want to make sure I get this right. Nope. Hang on one second, guys. Okay. Now, we talked about the Boys and Girls Club last week, and I had mentioned that there was some things going on that we'll also tackle about them. And one in particular is a local chapter here in Washington State. Um, Washington State is a lefty run location, for those of you unaware, and they behave accordingly. Um, some time back, a friend from Facebook reached out to me and 425 and asked me to try and cover a situation that was going on with her and her family. Um, and it was a pretty egregious case that she believes was intentionally motivated by um, race. So I went looking into it and found some interesting bits of information. Her children are mixed. They are part Asian, and the situation is that she found some behavior by the people in charge over on that side of the globe that were conducting themselves in a manner that seemed a little bit off. One of the things that they were doing was signing up children that had no right to be signed up in a certain district because they had an in with the system. It just so happened that the people that were signed up outside, improper paperwork and all that stuff, were of the Caucasian persuasion. And they all seem to have a hand either monetarily or with terms of setting up all of the rules and regulations over there on Mercer Island. They just happen to have an in. So we have some names that we're going to be dropping today. And if anyone is over on Mercer Island or in that vicinity, district, area here in Washington State, um, I would ask that you reach out to these people and find out what their reasoning was behind what they have been doing. Um, some of the accusations is falsifying registrations and removing children who were correctly signed up from registration. Um, Now, the question here becomes this: is it a matter of policy, or is it a matter of a deeper seated problem within the Boys and Girls Club and the Booster Society for it as well? So they have a booster club as well as a. Based on what we've discovered about them to begin with, it is not far fetched for me to believe that the Boys and Girls Club are also a racist organization. It does not, to me, it doesn't seem far fetched. And I don't think it's a local thing to Washington State. If um, if you can actually have child abuse going on in your organization to the tune of 5 settlements and one person getting 150 years in prison, why would I not believe that you have money in your back pockets from the rich folk to target young men and women? This particular individual has 2 sons, and both were treated the exact same way. Um, the organization itself is the issue. It is not a matter of people not getting this right. This is an organization. It's becoming more and more prevalent in locations where people have money tied up in stuff that they'll do this. The Mercer Island Boys and Girls Club of King County. The athletic director is Tony Locasio. Okay, Tony Locasio. He's 27 years old, one of the main culprits in this whole thing. The Booster Club is headed up by Becca Robinson, Karen Friedman, Kelly Kuchis, and Chad Conklin. Karen Friedman is the youth director, and Becca Robinson is the board president. MercerIslandBasketball.org is the email address if you guys want to reach out to find out what their issue and problem is. Not quite sure why my mic is glitchy. There's nothing on my end to be glitching about. That makes me worrisome. I'm looking to see what could possibly be the reason. It's getting scrambled up, huh? Let me take a listen here. Let's see. Weird. I can hear it. That's crazy. Can't tell you why. Not moving, not doing anything. I'll reread the name. I'll reread the names so you guys have them very clearly. Okay? This is the Mercer Island Boys Basketball Booster Club. Okay? Their email address is mercerislandbasketball.org. MERCISlandbasketball.org. The board president, Becca Robinson. Youth director, Karen Friedman. Kelly Kuchis and Chad Conklin are the other two. One of the other culprits is a man by the name of Tony Locasio. He's the athletic director for the Mercer Island Boys and Girls Club of King County. Their operations manager is Becky Shadle. Ellie Human is the human resources. Um, these are her. This is her statement. She had said that the parent complained that they are afraid of their life since I had attended football games by myself, intimidated and harassed other parents. They're talking about the person's parent, the kids that I'm talking about. Um, was said that she was told by other parents that the lady I'm addressing that sent this information to me was attacking people. Now, where they got that from is where we're going to get into today. So the club itself does not like parents being involved in how things happen with the children. Like we covered on the other podcast with Too Strong, that their intent has always been to isolate the kids from the parents' influence. So when you're a parent trying to stand up in the gap for your child, they have to create a way to remove you from the lead so they can do what they want. They went to her personal Facebook page to say that she was speaking out against the people in charge, and that was reason enough for them to remove their children from the clubs because she spoke ill about the people in charge, the names I'm mentioning. Mark Munson is also another one that's atop the scale here. Um, between the booster and the boys club, they both seem to be in coordination with each other to try and keep certain minority children out of the clubs, either by ways of sign up or saying that they don't have enough info or they shouldn't be part of the district, or their parents have too far right leaning mindsets and beliefs on social media. So they decided to take out the children out of the clubs because they don't agree with the way the mother sees politics. I want people to understand exactly what that means for any child going forward. If that is a precedent you set, that you can't say anything to anyone because of your political viewpoints, and in so being, we can take your children, take your punishment out on them, that's crazy to me. That is insane to me. Again, why am I believing this? Because of what we found on them. Because of what we found. If the group itself overall, or the overriding idea behind the group is nefarious to children, why would I then believe that this is beyond what you can do? I'm fully going to believe that you can do this, especially knowing that you get government funds and the government hands out funds mostly to people who agree with their propaganda. Let's go through some things here. You're a far left leaning organization. You have a history of child abuse. Racism isn't too far from the wheel well of the people that you follow. And we have proof that the people that are being targeted are minorities. Okay. If you are getting money, and we talked about how much money they've been getting to promote a certain ideal, and parents are now being targeted for what they do in their personal life in order for you to take it out on their children, you have no business dealing with children. You have zero business dealing with children. That means you have two reasons that you want to do this. You want to have children isolated, and you want to push an agenda of hate. We already know that the Boys and Girls Club love to have children isolated. They have zero problem leaving children open to sexual abuse. They have zero issue with parents handing off their children to them for days on end. And they don't like to report when a child actually tells them something is going wrong. Now, a parent comes to you and tells you this is wrong, this is what you've been doing, and you look them in the eye and say, no, you're at fault because of what you said against one of our coaches. If you need an explanation from their attorney's name is Denise Ashbaugh. That's the club attorney. Please write this phone number down, 206-428-3252. Denise Ashbaugh, club attorney, 206-428-3252. If you need a phone number for Karen Friedman, 206-661-0021. These people have to be bombarded for them to change. And if that means they have to be bombarded from people across the United States, so be it. To reach out to the idiot Tony Loscasio, that clown, 206-947-4181. Just ask for Tony. If that doesn't work, the next step will be a petition, yes, of some sort of a civil lawsuit. The problem with all of this, people, is this. The more this is allowed to continue, the harder it will be for children to really see their full potential in what they want to do. When you have a bunch of adults being paid to push an agenda and to isolate kids and to be a discriminatory factor in their life, what does that do for the mindset of the child? You guys, I don't know what to tell you about the mic. I can't understand that myself. I can't tell you. I'm not touching anything. Nothing's moved from this morning. Don't know what to tell you. It's as confusing as mine is. Remember this agenda, which is, if you think this is far-fetched of me or I'm reaching too far, remember the agenda. You shut down the children's ability to think logically. You create for yourself an environment where you can control the children's thoughts. You create for them a persona that is very much self-hating and depressive. And then once you've done that, you have full control over what you can and can't allow the child to do. Because if I have your whole identity in my hand, anything I want, I can get from you now. It's a groomer's tactic. It's very much a groomer's tactic. The only one that will ever love you is me. Okay? Now apply that to how their cases have gone with the abuse sexually of children in their organization. And tell me if you think they're willing to go that far with a child, why would racism be a step too short? Now, I can tell you something about Washington State. This is what I know about Washington State. Washington State, on the wet side, on the other side of the hill, the coastline, is rife. I mean, rife with corruption. It is the liberal hub. It's a mirror of California. Nasty like California. There's homeless everywhere, trash everywhere. You got scheming going on in the governorship, and it trickles all the way down. The entire agenda of people on that side of Washington State is blue to the core. Blue to the core. Suing for violations can only work if you can maintain the violation on paper. If they come and tell you, hey, we didn't do it because of race, and they come up with some arbitrary reasoning like your mom, even in that, it doesn't matter whether or not they can prove it to you. They're hoping that their scare tactic of, oh, it's our policy will be enough to deter people. They are hoping that they can do this, tell you it's policy. You don't go any further by taking it to the courts. They'll threaten you with their own lawyers, knowing that most will not have the money to go through with any sort of claim against them. They have the backing of the government, they have the backing of government money, and they're all going to be batting for the same team on the same page. They'll come up with some cockamamie scheme about how your child mouthed off one day to them. They'll get enough people to say that's true. And before too long, you can't even enroll your child in anything. How do I know that? Because I've encountered them here where I'm at. When it came to my son, it is not far-fetched at all. If they have something against your child, they will use anything you say to make sure that they can solidify their reasoning. Period. You have the ear of the most stupid man in Washington State, in Jay Inslee, one of the most moronic human beings I have ever encountered in my life. I think if there was ever a definition of the word stupid in the dictionary with a picture next to it, it'd be his. Because they're not white, Erica. Okay, they're not white. I said that before. They're not white people. All of the people experiencing this issue are not white. That's how it's racist. Washington State is notorious for it as well. It is a one horrible place politically to live. Liberals have taken over everything on the west side. The gay agenda is rampant over there. The homeless is out of control, drugs out of control, and the governors are racist. So how would I square this circle? We have proof of the people you're doing it to are not like you. You yourself are telling them that it's because your parent has a right-leaning view that you're doing this. Your governor is straight off the top against anyone he deems on the right. He is the one paying and divvying out money to your organization. What makes me believe that you're not doing exactly what you tell me you're not doing? Now, if you guys have had children in sports, especially a sport they love, you will understand the damage it can do to them emotionally. My adult, almost 17-year-old, he loves himself some basketball and he's good at it. And when people have tried to use it as a tool for control, I can see what it did to his mind. I saw what it did to his mind and his soul. It crushed him. It had the exact effect they were hoping it would have. Their goal was to break him down to the point where they can say and do whatever they wanted to him with no repercussions. It is no different than what's happening over on Mercer Island with the Boys and Girls Club and Booster Club over there, with the people I mentioned before. If they can control you via your children, they'll do it. And if they can control your children via you, they'll do that too. Here's the problem with what, because I did look this up. You're not going to find any. You're not going to find any. The biggest issue that we're facing right now with this issue is their ability to change what they want to fit them, limiting the amount of damage that can be done if and when a lawsuit is brought forward. Here's the thing, I'll give you an example. They can create for themselves a bylaw that says you can't speak ill about any athletic director or any coach, whether it be on social media or verbally. They can go back then, weeks before they pass this, and say you did and boot your kid out if they wanted to. Essentially, it's what they did to this particular individual. So it's politically and racially motivated. They don't need your input for it. They just have to change their bylaws and their rules and regulations. And they can do that at the drop of a hat to fit whatever they feel like doing. And if the money's behind them, what options do you have? What options do you have? The only options you have at this point is to bombard them with phone calls. Start removing your children from their care. No children, nothing to exploit. No children, nothing to exploit. My advice, please, and I hope that people do this, send in a request for information of why certain children were left off the roster, were treated differently by the organization. Put it this way, seemingly because of their race and their parents' position politically. Write them and ask them why. Why is it that it seems that what we're seeing is a direct attack because of race and political views? Again, these are the people you can get a hold of. Denise Ashbaugh is the club attorney, 206 428 3252, or the basketball board president, Rebecca Robinson or Becca Robinson, 206 794 0296. Get a hold of them. Get a hold of them. They have to be able to justify and answer the questions of why. Why? Just because does not answer a question. And the last time I checked, a parent's political view has zero to do with the child playing basketball. Because technically, the basketball ain't supposed to have nothing political about it. It's you bouncing the ball on the floor, going from one end of the court to the other, and throwing it into a net. That has zero to do with politics. And if you're trying to indoctrinate my child into something political because of who pays you, that too is also a problem. Because even if I, as a parent, wanted my child to be a right leaning Republican, that's my choice, not yours. I didn't send them to you for you to indoctrinate them because you're teaching them basketball. If I want my child to grow up thinking man for woman, woman for man, and God is the arbitrator of all things, that's my choice, not yours. I'm only sending them to you because you have a basketball program and they want to play basketball. Parents, if you don't want this, make sure you pull them as quickly as you can. Here's why. They will start with one right being pulled from you and abused, to obviously they have more rights that they can. I am not putting child abuse past anybody in this position. Zero. If your parent company can do it, you can do it. Yeah, and I'm stopping one sentence short of calling them pedophiles. Simply because no one has accused them yet of it. But I'm not putting it past them. I'm not putting it past them. If they can start to remove your influence from the child's progress in their group, that opens a door for them to do and say and act anyhow they want with that child. This topic is more than about the person that brought it to me. This has to do with other children there as well. It has to do with them as well. I'm making my case based on the overriding group mindset about Boys and Girls Club. I'm making it about the way the government operates in Washington state. And I'm making it based on the fact that you take money from said government to peddle agendas. And in the process, you harm children because that's your goal, though. The only way you can really have control over these children is to break their mind. And what's the best way to break a child's mind? Belittle them. What you might call humbling, right? It's a power thing. I will let you play when I decide I let you play. And if you don't want to abide by what I'm telling you, I'll punish your parents and you. Meanwhile, they can take money, get bribed to push an agenda, and you can't say anything about it. And if you do say something about it, your child pays the price. If you say something about what they do and it being wrong, your children are going to get punished. That's what they're setting the precedent for. If I don't like what you think on your own page, in your private time, I reserve the right to abuse your child mentally for any reason I want. We'll start with the fact that, hey, your child is slow. Or, hey, nah, we can't do that because of your child being this and that and the other. Washington has some of the most paid attorneys. The most paid attorneys. There is a big difference between a good attorney and a paid one. When I tell you that Washington State is corrupt, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This is one of the most disgustingly corrupt locations in the United States. Morally bankrupt. Morally bankrupted people live here. Give you an example. We voted on a $30 tab system, flat 30, right? The whole state. It won enough votes to do it. It won enough votes. But by the action of one county where most of the liberals live, it was undone. And there was nothing we could do about it because of tax money, is what they want to funnel their lifestyle on that side. That's how corrupt it is here. That's the stupidity that people in Washington State have to live with. Now they're having it trickle down to the way they handle children. I wish we didn't have an avenue for these people to operate. I really do. Um, we need some countering programs that can fight this particular thing, that can go nationwide. So we don't have to depend on the perverted Boys and Girls Club for anything, or their booster societies. We don't want them for anything. But in the meantime, what we can do is bombard them with questions until they give answers. Bombard them until they give the answers. Please call the people I gave you the names of. You already know what their global and at minimum across America what they do with children. And if there's any merit to them, to those stories locally here, we should be completely destroying them. We need to put a stick, a fork in them right now. But they need pressure. And that was the point of what I was trying to do today, is to get pressure on them locally. Harass them if you have to. And I mean it, like literally bug the mess out of their phones. Harass them till they give you a genuine answer. Because so far they have not given. In fact, they've been avoiding answering any questions. Meanwhile, kids are going through the mental demise that they want, of course, to happen with these children, of losing out on something for something that they can't control. How they look. And then you punish for what a parent believes in their own time, not on your page, not on your Booster Club site, not in an email, on their own Facebook page. You are now penalizing their children because you don't like what the parents say. If you guys have not subbed yet to the YouTube channel, I'm not talking about Straight Talk. I'm talking about the Savage Patriots. If you haven't subbed yet, go sub. Sub it up, sub it up. We need to get that channel up over 1K. That's where we're going to be tackling all the political stuff from. I'll be doing most of my God-based things on my straight talk. All my political stuff is going to be on the Savage Patriots. Okay. Um, Tyler Perry, not Tyler Perry, but what's his name? Steve Tyler. Tyler Perry. Steve Tyler is tonight on Too Strong. Um, there's some allegations against him for minor safety, sexual abuse, actually. So we'll be covering that, see what that's all about. Um, so, yeah, if you guys want to talk politics, Savage Patriots is where it's going to be at. But we need to get to the bottom of this, because I would also challenge you to do this. Look at your local Boys and Girls Club and see if there's still those kinds of allegations where you are. I challenge you to do that too. Look locally at your local Boys and Girls Club and booster societies and see if not the same kind of things are also being complained about there. I will almost bet money, not a betting man, but if I were, I'd bet money that it's probably the same thing. I would bet money that they do it there too. I say we shut them down. The whole organization. I say we shut them down. Shut them down. Anyway, we'll be back tonight on Too Strong. Please be there. Um, I don't know why they call them booster clubs. It's to boost their agenda, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll be keeping tabs on this storyline. But if we can get some traction on it, let's get some traction on it. Get their ears burning and see if it changes the way they handle things. If not, we'll have more information and we can tackle them even harder. We'll see you guys then. Please, y'all have a grand rest of the day. And we will catch up tonight on Too Strong. Until then, have a good one. Peace.